And welcome back. Well, World Vision's 40-hour famine has come a long way since its inception, just over 40 years now. Fundraisers once fast to take on world hunger, but in a competitive charity market in recent times, things have changed. Last week, a Christchurch swimming club raised more than $5,000 for the cause by swimming. No fasting involved. And with me now is Chris Davis from World Vision to explain why things have changed. Welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. Let's just talk about how long it's come. Yeah, it's just over 40 years. It's a bit of a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is our 41st year this year. The 40-hour famine started in Canada 1 year before it started here. So we were the second country to run it, and we've had 40 years. It's New Zealand's longest running youth activity, youth event. It's New Zealand's biggest youth fundraiser, so it's almost like a rite of passage for a lot of Kiwis.
Absolutely, and I guess this year as well, was there a lot of turnout as well again this year?
Yeah, we had, I was just checking the numbers before I came, we had 117,000 students did it this year.
Oh wow, and is that good compared to other years?
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really good turnout, so we were happy. Yeah,
cool.
Considering there's about maybe 900,000 students in New Zealand, so it's a lot of students doing it.
I can imagine so, absolutely. I want to talk about the competitiveness of this in terms of the fundraising effort as well. There's a lot of other charities out there that you guys have to compete with, I guess, sort of competition really.
Yeah.
What's it like these days out there for you guys when it comes to your position in helping to fundraise?
We don't sort of view it as competition because obviously we're all trying to make the world a better place.
Absolutely, yes.
Generally our goal is, if there's a size of the pie, we're trying to grow the pie. So we're trying to work with each other to make sure that we don't step on each other's toes, that we increase the amount of money we have to make development work happen overseas, rather than trying to steal funding from each other. So we try not to compete if we can help it. It's more about making sure that if we've got a project coming up, it's not going to actually hurt another charity by us doing it.
And that's what I was just about to say to you too. Obviously you want to try and, obviously there's a lot of areas that need to be covered, and of course not one charity can cover all of the areas, so it's just working with the others, is it, to try and get what ones you're going to work on and all that sort of stuff, is that correct?
Yeah, well, different charities have different things that they tend to focus on. So some people do, we do emergencies and international development, so we do 15-year development projects. Other people do emergency healthcare, some people do emergency medical care like Médecins Sans Frontières, or some people like St John's are fundraising for ambulances and healthcare within New Zealand, so things change depending on who the organisation is, depends on what they're fundraising for.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we try and stick to our segment.
Yeah, and get your side sorted. Okay, cool. I want to talk about the 40-hour famine, when it started to now. Obviously a lot has changed in terms of what you guys do. I want to talk about the processes in general as well. So obviously most people, when they think of 40-hour famine, would be the barley sugars and all those type of stuff. But that's kind of evolved, hasn't it? Do you want to talk a wee bit about that?
Yeah, so the original 40-hour famine was 40 hours with no food, and actually heaps of the people who do the 40-hour famine now, that's still what they do. But yeah, a few years ago, we saw students starting to do other things. So they were doing challenges where they go 40 hours with no talking, or 40 hours with no technology, or 40 hours maybe with their ankle tied to somebody else, or all kinds of crazy things, 40 hours sleeping in a cardboard box. And so what we've done is we've started to extend it beyond just the food challenge to other challenges. And a lot of people do too. So my son this year, he did 20 hours no food and 40 hours no technology. And he found no technology way harder, way harder. He'd much rather go without food than his technology.
In the nicest way possible, does it kind of defeat the purpose of famine, of going up, to normally go away with hunger for the 40 hours, to go off to something else where, I might not use my phone for 40 hours? Or does it kind of defeat the purpose?
We do have a lot of people who don't want to go without food, and I mean, if you're diabetic or you've got low blood sugar, or there's a whole host of reasons that kids won't go without food or shouldn't go without food. But I mean, for most kids 12 to 17 years old, it's absolutely fine. I think it's more people like to challenge themselves. So there's a challenge of going without food, and what you'll find is a lot of people will do that the first year, and then the next year they go, I want to do something else. I want to challenge myself in some other way. And do you find that's the right move to go down for within World Vision, I guess, to kind of push that, like going without technology and all these other group activities that have happened, especially this year as well? Do you think that's kind of the way it's heading? I think if we just stuck with a no food 40-hour famine, our participation rates would squeeze into only the people who want to do a no food 40-hour famine.
So extending that has actually increased the number of participants that come into it, and I suppose for you guys that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I think I love the no food famine because I think it's really important for the Kiwi kids who participate. Who, I mean, there are kids in New Zealand who do go without food and are hungry, but for most New Zealand kids, the experience of being properly hungry is not something that happens very often. So 40 hours is long enough to feel really properly hungry. I mean, I did the 40-hour famine this year and finished on Sunday at midday, and I was really hungry by midday Sunday. So it's good for kids to have that physical sensation of what it might be like to live.
And it's not just like a individual thing now too. As I was saying before, there was a swimming group here in Christchurch doing as a group. Is you seeing more of that as well?
Yeah, we see schools do a lot of big activities. So often they'll have all the kids will get into the hall and they'll have a big sleepover. Or for the older students, sometimes they'll do things where they'll challenge their teachers. And so, if the students raise a certain amount of money, then the PE teacher has to shave his legs or something, or the principal, they'll make her wear a moustache for the day or something, or all kinds of challenges to the teachers. And sometimes they have challenges with each other where they'll... So the Wharanui swimming club that you were talking about earlier, 40 hours of relay swimming.
Yes.
So that, again, that's an extension beyond a personal challenge to a big group challenge.
No, that's cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Chris Davis, thank you so much from World Vision.